Right.
How are we doing? All right.
I'm doing all right. I'm with Andrew Crook, president of the National Federation of Fish Friers.
Not easy to say, is
No,
it? So I'll
it's
try
not.
and interview this.
And you're the third generation.
I am, yeah. My grandmother was in fish and chips. My mum actually bought a fish and chip shop, and then my dad joined her. And then I did a computer programming degree, but I worked at Asda as a student, like dealing with the public. So I joined my mum and dad, then I bought my own fish and chip shop, and then merged that in, and we bought a few more. And it's been a long career, and I grew up round it, but still love it and still love the meal.
Oh, well, this is a real treat. Skippers we're at. How do you pronounce the name? Is it Eton?
No,
Euxton?
Euxton.
Euxton.
Everyone gets it wrong.
Because
So.
that U sort of throws you, doesn't it?
You usually get Euxton. When they were doing a redevelopment on the ROF, there used to be a munitions factory where they were getting deliveries to. They just called it Euxton, so because it saved all the truck drivers getting it wrong. So that's it.
And how long have you had this shop then?
Almost 20 years.
Well, that's not bad going, is it?
Well, we're still going.
Yeah.
Obviously, the last 5 years have been. We've had a few challenges, as everybody has, but still love it. And it's a lovely village. There's only about 6,000-7,000 people here. It's a lovely community to be part of. For me, that's the best part of it. And winding up the employees. I used to hang around my mum's fish and chip shop when I was a kid, and I used to spend the time annoying all the employees. And I do the same here. I've turned it into a career now, so that's the best part of fish and chips. Having a laugh.
Well, it's a lovely area too, isn't it?
Beautiful. With
elderly people, a lot of elderly people around here.
Yeah, it's probably a more elderly demographic. There's a lot of young families as well, but it's a reasonably affluent village, commuter town. There's train lines there. We've got 2 motorways. So,
well, I was looking at a video you did. I think it was with the BBC about 10 years ago from here.
Yeah.
And you were trying different species then, or trying to promote different fishes then, and you had cuttlefish.
Yeah.
And you had a gurnard.
The cuttlefish, actually, I think they probably left it out, so it wasn't smelling too great when it arrived. It looked all right for TV, but it wasn't.
Right. Okay, you didn't really like it yourself.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to keep trying these things. But even back then, you were talking about having to diversify a little, not so much diversify, but introduce new species of fish, because you saw an issue then, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we've always had challenges, and because fisheries are well managed, they reduce the quotas. Nothing as substantial as they've done in recent times, and everything seems to be hitting at once. And obviously, there's some geopolitical problems that have come into play as well with Ukraine and Russia. So I think it's always good to look at alternative species. And I don't know if you remember Hughes Fish Fight, Hugh Whittingstall.
Oh, we loved him.
Well, they were doing the mackerel bat, but they didn't really take off. I know somebody that put them on the menu, and they sold 1,000 fish and chips one weekend and 6 mackerel bats. So, and it is a difficult thing to get people to be a bit more adventurous, but there's so many great species out there, and it's worth people just exploring them. And if we can try and get people to try them, it might take a little bit of pressure off cod and haddock for the time being, which will help some. And I think we're probably more lucky over this side of the Pennines because people will buy cod rather than haddock. But if you go to Yorkshire and Scotland, it's almost all haddock. So when haddock's under pressure because they catch less haddock than they do cod, it means that they've got more of a challenge to get people to try different things.
The Barents Sea, I mean, there were sanctions that we in the West or whatever, in Europe, put on Russia.
Yeah.
They put some sanctions back, including parts of the fishing.
Well, what they did, they banned British vessels from fishing in Russian waters. The life cycle of cod, it goes up to the Russian waters to grow, so we don't want to fish there, and we don't want them fishing there because they'll catch small fish and we'll have a problem with fish further down the line. So that's why Norway allow Russia, even though Russia are almost a quarter, they allow them to fish in Norwegian waters still, and it's important to do that. What's happened with the Barents Sea, they found they call them year classes. So there's been a couple of year classes with not many breeding age females. So that means they're just giving it a break now and reduce the quota. They probably should have gone deeper earlier on. And the scientists recommended a bigger cut than they've actually brought in for this year as well. But the thinking is by doing these cuts, it'll give the stock chance to recover. So that's meant that the quota now is about a quarter of what it was in 2019. It was over 1 million tonnes. It's about 285,000 tonnes this year for cod. They've increased the haddock quota, but it's still less than 200,000 tonnes of haddock caught. So it's not going to make up the shortfall. So that's where the problems are. When it comes to sanctions, Europe have actually sanctioned the 2 main Russian fishing companies. We've put a 35% tariff on top of the 6 that was already there. I was actually dealing with the minister at the time, which would be Victoria Prentice, on Zoom calls, and she did say the sanctions they're bringing in just on direct fillets will impact fish and chips more than anything else. And we thought, well, it's up to you to pull the levers. We're not going to tell you, but please remember it's in the budget kind of thing. And then the energy crisis kicked off and everybody was affected by that. So fish and chips got forgotten about. So it has made things a little bit more difficult. So
What's with the fishing grounds in China?
well, it's not, a lot of that will be Russian fish that goes to China to be processed, then comes out of China as Chinese. Most of that will go into processing. Most of what the fish and chip industry will buy is direct fillet imports, which is what attracts the tariff. So, we've just got to let it play out. Government knows all the facts now. I work very closely with the guy at DEFRA, and I have to say the new CEO of Seafish is ex-DEFRA, so he understands the situation, so he'll be fighting our cause as well, I'm sure. The seafood supply chain is a crazy supply chain that's so complex. We've always been an advocate of traceability, and you'll see I'm MSC certified. I've always said, even with alternative species, it's important that shops declare the species at the point of sale, which is difficult because people are a bit hesitant to try new things. And if they're thinking, well, I'm not going to survive because I can't charge anymore, I can't cut my portions down, I'm going to have to try a different species and see if I get away with it. There's some shops in that position now, and which is why it's important, the work that I've been doing, it's just trying to get the message out that it's not profiteering. There is a significant issue with supply, but we've got alternatives. We're in a much better place than we were this time last year because we've got those species there that even farm stuff. I know you mentioned tilapia online, which I've seen, but we've got things like pollock from North America. I've been working with American Seafoods. They're bringing in what's called kibbling in Holland, which is pollock. It's frozen in a block and cut into fish bites. So they bandsaw it into smaller pieces. And the demonstrators, I think you might have tried it up at the Henry Colbeck show. And they're coming down to Euxton in a few weeks.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, and it's a tasty fish, and it's a different format, which might also work for younger people because the format of fish and chips hasn't really changed in 160 years. It's fillet on a portion of chips, whereas younger people like finger food, and so it might just work for that as well. So,
but it goes down to storage and stuff, doesn't it? I mean, this is a decent sized shop, isn't it? But you're going to get a lot smaller, where they can't really have too many species. They can't have too many things on offer. They're going to have to keep a smaller menu. Where is your menu, by the way?
Just right above your head. It's switched off at the moment, so we'll put it on after.
I was looking at that. But yeah, there's no storage space. They need extra fridges or the freezers or something. But even boxes.
You always find a way. That's the thing. Yeah. That's what you do as a business owner. You're resourceful and you come up with a plan and
you do. You've got to keep moving, and not just for you, for the sake of your staff and everyone else, haven't you? A lot of shops have gone, but there's a lot of shops opening as well at the same time, I've noticed, and a lot of young people getting involved in it. What would it take for a young couple, say, or a young person to set up a shop like this?
First thing I'd say, get some training, because customers nowadays aren't forgiving. So, and when you open up a new shop, you always get slammed. I had a refit here. I went from, you can see this range is an island range, so I stand on the other side. Originally, it was a counter range here. So I was at the side of the service, so you can hear what's going on, you can see what's going on. As soon as you go on the other side, it's more difficult. And we reopened, even with all the experience I've got, and we got absolutely hammered because people just want to come and try it when it reopens. And things start going wrong, and it's that busy, you can't put it right till the end of the shift. And you have a debrief with the team of what can we do to improve that one. And then you put that in place for the next day, and you don't know if that's going to work until the end and you can't talk about it until the end of the next shift. So find a good location with car parking. I'm lucky here, there's a car park.
Definitely.
I've had shops where there's been no car parking, and that makes it more difficult. So always look for a good location. And then cost-wise, I mean, you don't need a lot of equipment to do it. A frying range is expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at KFE stuff, and some of the things, with all the logos embedded into and with lights and all kinds of things. And there was one there I was looking at, it must have been £100,000 for this thing. I mean, it's like any business, isn't it? If you set up a haulage company, a wagon's not cheap.
Well, that's it. You've got to invest.
But what would you do now between shifts?
Usually go home. You were talking about a haulage firm, or if you've got a fleet of parcel vans going out and one of the drivers gets distracted by somebody walking past her and crashes into the back of another car, insurance will pay out because it's an accident. Whereas if I've got a manager that leaves my frying range on or takes the oil out while the pan's still switched on and goes into the bike, lacks the concentration again, the insurance won't pay out. I know several business owners that have lost their business because a member of staff has had a moment, a man has just forgot something, it's set on fire, and that's their business gone, which is what you take insurance out for. Again, as a small business, you're always on the losing side. That's it.
Yeah, and as time goes on, they bring in new rules and regulations. It gets harder and harder, doesn't it? You cook with oil?
Yeah.
What do you think of beef tripping?
Love it. I see the debates online all the time. I spend a lot of time in West Yorkshire, and I've got used to beef dripping. But if you're not used to it, it does take a little while to get used to it. But I am seeing more and more shops moving on to it. You have got the issues around religious beliefs, but there's halal beef dripping. You've also got obviously vegetarians, which makes it more difficult. So I've got a little fryer there, and I've got a couple of vegetarian and vegan customers that know, and they'll phone me up 15 minutes before, and I'll fire that up and cook fish and chips for them in that.
But I suppose there's a lot of vegans or vegetarians that would still not bother with the fish and chip shop just in case a sausage has ended up in there or something. You know, they'll probably still have that concern.
Yeah.
So, I mean, me personally, if I was to open a fish and chip shop, well, it'd be the worst rated fish and chip shop in the UK, wouldn't it?
I don't know, you've got experience now.
No, given what I'm doing, they'll be all on it like,
yeah, we'll all come.
But it would be beef dripping.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be a very small menu. Or it'd just be kept simple.
Yeah.
You know, I try not to get involved in those kind of politics with vegans, vegetarians, carnivores, whatever.
I do think beef dripping adds an extra special flavour, especially the chips, and it's something I love.
You can't always taste it, but you can smell it.
Yeah.
And I think, and I didn't even know they did a halal beef dripping.
Yeah. Tea Quality do one, and through the Colbecks have one as well. So yeah, it's
Is that a new thing?
Yeah, last 12 months.
I mean, fish and chips is halal by default, really, isn't it? It's not. I suppose it's not that. It's what the utensils you've handled something else with, what you've had in the oil, what you've had in the shop.
Yeah.
That changes that, doesn't it? Oh, well, that's going to be really interesting, that, isn't it, with the beef dripping? That's going to see how. Because I think it's becoming more popular.
Yeah.
I think more people are going away from seed oils.
Yeah. I think one of the things with oils that's a big misconception is we shouldn't use palm oil, and that's completely wrong. I did a lot of work with the RSPO, which is part of the WWF, World Wildlife Fund, and they're working very closely with Chester Zoo. And if you've been to Western Grove, I think, with Josette, she was a partner with them because obviously she's in Chester. And if everyone stopped using palm oil because it's used in so many products, it'd be an environmental disaster and a humanitarian disaster as well in the regions where they grow palm oil now, because they've kind of drawn a line under the jungle clearances. So the RSPO stuff is sustainable, and they've got well managed. They've got bridges so that orangutans can go from one part of the jungle to the other, and they can swing like tree bridges basically. If everyone stopped using it, the economy would collapse there, and the locals would probably eat the animals. We're in a situation where we've got to manage it, and to grow a different type of oil to the same volume you get from palm, you'd need to clear a bigger area somewhere else to grow it. Getting that message out that palm oil's not evil. But for me, it's the flavour of beef dripping that I love. I'm on sunflower oil because I like the flavour of that.
So, the NFFF, National Federation of Fish Friers. What do you promote?
Well, our job's to represent the fish and chip industry. I've been involved with it 20 years now, and I started off, I was chairman of the Northwest. Originally started attending the Northwest meetings with my dad, and I was sat at the back of the room, probably with a hangover, because it was always on a Sunday morning. I'd been out the Saturday night. And then one day I ended up chairman of the Northwest. I stood for the national board, didn't get in the first year, so somebody else, Mark Drummond, who you might have come across, got in instead of me. And then I stood again the next year and got onto the national board. Basically, we look after all the interests of fish and chip shops. So we've got a training academy, which is quite slow at the moment. It's just started picking up now. We're starting to get more inquiries, which is a good sign that people are looking at fish and chips as a career again and looking to buy fish and chip shops. But we also deal with the media. So I've been on the radio this morning. I've got another one tomorrow morning. I had the one show on last night, so they've done a feature, so they come for facts checking. And then we deal with government as well. So I've got contacts in DEFRA, Department of Business, deal with ministers, attend a lot of events where there's ministers and MPs there to get the voice of the industry heard. And it was founded in 1913 in Manchester. And it was a group of fish friers. We've actually got a picture from the day it was founded, that recognise that they've got a stronger voice by pulling together. So one person doesn't have much clout, but when you've got a collective of people, you can achieve lots more. Set something up called the British Takeaway Campaign. So we do a lot of work behind the scenes, and a lot of what we do isn't seen by anybody because I'll get contact from the media. And then we also have things where members have issues with equipment or suppliers, and we try and intervene there. It's an important role. It's an important thing that we've got a body there to represent fish and chips, and it might change in the future. At the moment, it's all run by volunteers, so I don't get paid for doing it. It probably takes me 50 hours a week, and it has done for many, many years. And at times when COVID or the Ukraine conflict kicks off, it was a lot busier than that. So you don't get paid for it, and it takes me away from my business and my home life. So it's quite an involved role, but at the moment, I still think I'm the best person to hold that position because I've got the contacts, and I do try and pass them on and get more people involved. But it's at the moment such a challenging time for small businesses. I think government at some point are going to have to look at what a lot of other European countries have done and lower VAT, and that's the one thing I want to drive home.
There's a lot of awards, or there's several awards that people want to get involved in, and that's fine. You know, it's one of them things, isn't it? You know, you want to get yourself out there, so any sort of advertisement or social media post, anything will do.
Yeah, we're more than awards. We took the National Fish and Chip Awards over, and we've just had the 4th event that we've run. It's been going 38 years, but our role, we've been going since 1913, and it's basically fighting for small business, because it's the small businesses that find it very difficult to cope with the amount of change. I mean, you hear a lot about all of hospitality complaining now, but for many years I was a lone voice fighting for a VAT reform, because fish and chips always had the tightest margin. And it's you're up against shops that probably aren't playing by the same rules, so that makes it more difficult for those that are trying to. And then obviously the long established shops, and there's quite a few that they're all right, they'll always make good money, but it's the shops trying to get up there that need that support, and that's where we come in to try and help them with training, help them with advice, but also fight their corner and try and bring about change. So that's something that I'm passionate about. And I've no children, so I'm not passing my business on to anybody else. I don't do the role for any other reason than to try and improve the industry. And at some stage, I'll not be in the industry. Hopefully I'll get a chance to sit on a beach somewhere and enjoy.
Well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Sitting, drinking a nice glass of wine right at the side of the mead would be wonderful. But while I am here, I want to make that difference. And it is a role where you get a lot of criticism. You can't please everybody. And the longer you do it, the more people you know, because people have different needs. So if a shop's doing all right and they don't want to see negative stories in the press, even if the story's positive, sometimes the press do a negative headline. I hope people realise that I do the role, and the rest of the board do the role, to try and make a difference. So I talk to as many people as possible, and the ones that are doing well aren't talking to people that are struggling to make ends meet and not told the family that they've no money coming in, and they're really in trouble. And not every business can survive, and it's not my job to make sure they survive, but it's my job to make sure government create an environment where they've got the best chance of survival by following the rules. And unfortunately, government fail at that at the moment.
Yeah, they do need to get behind hospitality in general, don't they? Apart from the VAT, you've got all this cardboard, paper and cardboard. They've done away with the polystyrene.
Yeah.
But there's something else that looks like polystyrene.
Yeah.
What should somebody look out for when they get something like this and it feels like plastic?
Yeah.
How do they know it's not the polystyrene or the plastic before? Does it have the recycle me thing on it, or does it have a...
It should be labelled up as recyclable. I mean, some of the plastic forks, all they've done is put reusable on them, and they're the same product, and people will still put them in the bin. So that kind of got it around. We've got wooden forks. This is actually a material called bagasse, which is made from sugarcane,
right?
Which unfortunately comes from China now. We've got problems going on with shipping, so that we're expecting issues with that. The reason I use that is because you don't get condensation. They're probably the most expensive type of packaging. But quality-wise, they're the best thing. And one of my pet hates, I'll show you that as well. So many takeaways have the box the wrong way up. So the tabs are meant to be at the bottom. So the big bit's meant to be at the top. The idea is it lets steam out, but nothing can fall in. So if that were on, somebody gets in the car, puts it in the car, anything drops into it, it's not going to go into the food. Then they come back and say, oh, they're beetling me food, stoning me food it could have dropped in the car. And they're designed to just let steam out.
Well, you wouldn't charge them for the beetle anyway, would you?
No, extra protein as well. No beetle there in this shop.
Yeah, I didn't realise that had gone in there. See, I don't like the polystyrene or plastic, even if it's recyclable.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like a plastic bag.
Yeah.
Because, for us anyway, I've got to take everything out.
Yeah.
We have a heat box of 12 volt. Up to 65 degrees. So it keeps things at least at the right temperature.
Yeah. Because they're designed to let steam out, if you wrap them, you then get the condensation inside, so you don't let the box do its job. So, and even the polystyrenes were designed that way. You watch how many photographs are on social media with them that way up. And you've probably seen a few yourself.
Yeah,
I think they're big
I've probably done a few myself like that. So for anyone that wants to start out in the fish and chip shop industry, or get themselves a fish and chip shop, even if it's a mobile one, I mean, they're quite popular at the moment, aren't they? A lot of mobiles. What would you say to them? How would you encourage them?
Definitely get training, and that way you'll know whether you like it or not. We have people passing through the training school, and every time it comes to the cleaning up, 'cause we always made them clean up as well. They'll disappear, they'll go out for a cigarette, or they'll disappear, and I'll have to make a phone call. And you just think that you're not going to make it, because you've got to be willing to roll your sleeves up. I can say this when my team aren't here, because they'll think, he never bloody does. I have done in the past, but so definitely get training. You'll see if you like it. You know, it's busy, it's hard work, it's physical. I've got aches and pains from it, but it's good fun. And you know, when you're working, you can have a laugh. So, but you need to find out if it's for you. I'd also say investigate the area, look at demographics, number of people within a certain radius of the shop, that kind of thing's always important to look at. If you're looking at a shop, sit outside it, see what trade it's doing, because in the past, people have massaged the figures, they've had a few shops and they'll put more through that shop to make it look like it's got higher turnover than it has. But join us as well and we'll help you. You know, we can put you in touch with suppliers. If it's an empty shell and you need to get planning permission, put one of these in, the manufacturers will help you get planning permission, put a proposal together. We'll do trading, we can do in-shop trading as well. So when you open up, we're quite willing to go into the shop and do the first shift with you and make sure you've got everything in place. That's what we do, and it's, you know, we like helping people. We want to see people successful. Just the main thing is make sure it's for you, because it's not for everybody, and that's a definite.
Well, that's just some of the benefits of the NFFF.
Yeah.
What other benefits are there for someone with a shop?
Well, we've got HR contract, which is fantastic. So if you've got any HR problems, we've got a portal so you can get the documents, so you can get employment contracts. So there's all sorts of contracts on there.
Just for that peace of mind, you know they've got someone there to support them through the association. They've got a query. How hard is it to get in contact with someone or get a response back?
Well, we've got an office that's open Monday to Friday, 8:30 till 4, 4 during the week, 4 o'clock on a Friday. Outside hours, it comes through to my mobile. To be honest, a lot of queries we get now are by email. We know the heads of all the supply companies or all the manufacturing companies, so we can get all the people. You know, the trading side of it's good. We've got some member rewards as well, so not only for the shops, but also for the employees. The main thing is just the advice as well. So the strangest one I had was a guy who said, I've got the weirdest thing. I've got blue spots appearing on my chips. He said, when they come out, they're fine. And then within a couple of minutes, they've got blue spots on them. And he said, it's off-putting for customers. I said, just give me half an hour and let me have a think. So I phoned him back half an hour later. I said, your potato sacks, what colour are they? He went, white. I said, have they got any writing on them? He said, yeah. I said, what colour's writing? He said, blue. I said, so then I knew what had happened. He'd been filling the peeler. And we always advise using a bucket so you can see if there's any stones. And I've had spanners in a bag of potatoes. But he's obviously poured it straight in. A bit of the paper's got chewed up on the inside. And then all those minute bits of blue paper are sticking to the chips, but minute. But with the oil and viscosity, it's spread. So within half an hour, we'd solve that problem. We have got a lot of advice out there and a lot of knowledge. And if I don't know the answer, I can always find somebody who does. So that's the benefit of it. And it's all about being stronger together. Then on top of that, we are fighting for you. So if you are a member, we send out surveys quite regularly. And one of the things I want to start soon is a drop-in Zoom call. So I'll be on a certain time on a Monday. And anyone that's got any issues, they can book a slot and come in and just all like a surgery. If we're getting a lot of members with the same issues, we can then raise that with governments and say that's happening.
The last thing, if you could have one item of equipment in here that you haven't got, that you think would help, what would it be?
Oh, no, that's a good one, because I like a gadget. So I've got high speed oven in the back for the pie, so because we don't do a lot. So I've got most gadgets. Ooh. Maybe a henny penny, so a bit more chicken, because I think what's going on, that's a solution that many shops are doing. So a pressure cooker for chicken would probably be the one thing. The other thing is a fish thawing fridge, but they're about £8,000. I know quite a few that have got them. They're absolutely fantastic. Yeah. But to be honest, I ain't got room for it. So.
Oh, well. Absolute pleasure, as usual.
And you.